Summer is in session at Icon Park. Welcome back for Season 2, Episode 6 of Summer Sessions, a Carlton Media pre-season podcast. I'm your host, Christian Filippo. Rose Zaruki is back on producing duties this week, and today's an exciting day. Joining us in the Carlton Media studio for the first time is one of our 6 new recruits for 2024. He's the new number 20, and he's also Ollie Hollands' new housemate, Elijah Hollands. Welcome to the Carlton Football Club. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Christian. Thanks for having me on the pod, mate. Appreciate it.
Did you see Ollie on the first one and think you wanted a slice of the pie, or?
Oh, I gave it a bit of a listen. I didn't listen to the whole thing because I hear enough of him at home.
Yeah, that's fair. Wasn't to do with the host.
No, it wasn't having to do with the end of the year, mate. But no, I gave it a bit of a listen, and yeah, I'll try and one-up him.
Good stuff. Well, if you listen to that one, you'd know that we start this podcast the same way, trying to find out a bit more about you as a person, not just a footballer. So, Lodge, what's your go-to karaoke song?
I haven't been doing too much karaoke, but if I had to pick one, I don't mind maybe Oasis, Wonderwall. That's probably one that I could go to.
Like it.
Brought out Hey There Delilah once with a couple of boys, which was fun. That was a bit different. Well, yeah, I just like to keep people on their toes.
No, once you get your first win at in the Navy Blue, you'll notice that Don't Look Back in Anger by Oasis plays after our wins in the stadium. So you might have to change Wonderwall for Don't Look Back in Anger.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that.
I like it, mate. I like it. Good break for Chrissy?
Yeah, mate, it was really good. It was quite busy. We've got a bit of family dispersed all over the country. So, yeah, spent some time in Sydney. I actually spent some time in regional New South Wales on a farm for a couple of days, which was great. And then got back down to sort of where I grew up in Albury Wodonga to see the rest of the extended family, which was nice.
Any working on the farm or strictly leisure?
No, we actually got put to work a little bit. It was actually at my one of my best mates' farms. He lives in a town called Scone, which is like sort of horse racing country.
Right.
So we got put to work out in the paddocks for a little bit, which was good fun. I'd grown up in the country. I spent a little bit of time on farms, but probably not a great deal. Yep. So it was good to actually sort of get a bit of change of scenery over the Chrissy break.
Well, how much golf did you manage to fit in that time?
Still a fair bit. We still got out.
You still managed?
We got out at Scone in between sort of working in the horse paddocks. We still found a way to play some golf. And then, Ollie and I are sort of always looking for a chance, and Dad as well, especially. He loves it. So a lot of the family time can be centred around the golf course if we can manage it. Obviously,
we're here to find out a bit more about you today, but I did know that golf was the one thing that was a safe bet to ask you.
Yeah.
Best golfer in the family?
Dad.
Yep.
Yeah, so Dad's he's played a lot of golf. He sort of played a lot of golf growing up, and when he spent some time at footy clubs as well. And he gives the old cheat code of you take business clients out into the golf course. It's a good way to bond. So, he's got us covered at the minute. And then Ollie's playing really well at the moment. Yep. He's put a lot of time into it over the last, I think especially the last 12 months.
Yep.
So he's in some really good form. And then I'm actually probably sitting just behind the two of them.
So you've been picked by the younger brother?
I have. Yep. It's not something that I want to last for very long. I went through a bit of a rough patch over sort of a 3-month period over the end of last year, but now I'm back and I'm coming for him again.
Well, how are the new digs with Ollie?
It's good, mate. I didn't really know how it was going to play out, to be honest.
Yep.
We're obviously living together, and I was probably a little bit hesitant at first whether I wanted to pull the trigger on it or not, but mate, we're having a great time. We're only close to the footy club. It takes us maybe 5 minutes to get in. We've sort of got a good balance of the living. He's just still fresh to it. He's only spent 12 months in the system, where I've done 3 years now, and so I guess we've got a good balance. And mate, I'm really enjoying it.
Is it weird living with him again?
Yeah, it is. Like everyone sort of expects he's my brother. It mustn't have been that long ago, but it's actually been about 6 years, because I shipped off to boarding school in year 11, which was I think 2018. And then in the midst of all that, I finished school and then moved back to Wodonga for a year because I was only 17 and wasn't obviously getting drafted until 18. But at that stage, Ollie had moved to Geelong for school. And then I head up to the coast and Ollie comes here. So it's been since about 2018 that we lived together, when I would have been 15 and Ollie was 13. So it's a lot different now. It's a bit more of a different dynamic. We're not necessarily throwing cricket bats at each other anymore, or cricket balls, or golf clubs. It's a little bit more tame than that, more fighting over the barbecue. But it's been good.
Well, I feel like everyone thinks he's a bit butterwood and melted in his mouth, Mr. Perfect, but can you confirm or deny whether or not that's the case? Is he a nuisance?
He's not a nuisance, but he's just, I don't know, where we differentiate is I'm probably a little bit more laid back and he's a little bit more uptight.
Yeah. Well, uptight?
Yeah, mate. He does like things done in a particular way, where potentially I'm one that might let things sort of float a little bit more. And I think that's where he gets a little bit edgy with me at times, when I'm maybe just a little bit more relaxed and maybe not doing things in the scheduled manner that he likes. Yep. But yeah, that's sort of where we differentiate.
Did you make him anything for his birthday last week?
Make him? No.
No.
Arts and crafts or sort of making him things and not my setup. I struggle putting shelves together, let alone getting real creative.
Yeah, so just your company was enough.
Yeah, I would have thought so.
Nice. Well, did he give you the
Wait, did you make him anything in terms of dinner? Is that what you meant? Or did you mean to make him a gift?
Anything. Did you get him anything? Did you cook him anything? Did you make him anything?
Well, to be honest, I actually don't know why. I just put myself in more trouble because I didn't actually do any of it.
Put yourself under the bus.
We had a big training day and we got home at like 4:30.
Oh, that was the big one, wasn't it?
Yeah. We got home at like 4:30 and I sort of looked to him and I just said, mate, I could try and cook you something, but I just don't know how it's going to turn out. So I went and just got him. I just got him some nicer food done by the experts.
Nice.
And made sure that it was something that he was going to enjoy.
It all counts.
Yeah.
Was he on the hard sale last year trying to get you to the footy club, or did it come to the piece late? Did he help out at all?
No, he certainly helped out.
Yeah.
It was a bit of an interesting one. Like, yeah, he was really keen for it, as was I. He obviously didn't have anything to do with it until the footy club approached first. And then, so once I had a few initial discussions with the club, then started to talk to Ollie about it and sort of what his thoughts on it were, what my thoughts on it were. And I guess we were just both really big advocates for it, to be honest. It's a pretty cool experience. We're going to learn along the way sort of what it looks like for us. You hear stories about other brothers who play footy together and their own stories, and I'm sure every story is different and we'll figure out what ours looks like over the next coming years. But right now we're enjoying it. We still find ourselves in a few chains out on the track, so we could potentially be subconsciously looking for each other a little bit. But so he had a little help, but I think what was most important was that it was going to be a move that best suited both Ollie and I. As much as we are brothers, we're going to be our own separate athletes as well. So we're going to make sure that it was a move that could still benefit the both of us.
Well, Ed Kerno used to speak about before the 2015 draft, he was always hanging around the recruiters trying to get their ear about Charlie, and I think Charlie was in the recruiters' ears about Ed's contract a few years ago. Ollie was spending a lot of time in the gym during trade week last year.
Yeah, right.
I think he just wanted a few updates, any updates that he could.
Yeah, okay. No, I didn't know about that. So, no, it was good that he was doing some stuff behind the scenes.
Yeah, he was loitering around. Obviously with you, mate, bit of a tricky start to life at Carlton. A few months on now, I guess how are you finding that transition and going about earning the respect of your new teammates?
Yeah, obviously it wasn't the ideal start coming in, and not one that sort of, anyone was looking for. But for me, I guess the best thing that I've experienced is just the way that the whole club's opened their arms up and wrapped them around me. I've been able to make some great relationships early doors, and I guess personally what I'm just trying to do is just work as hard as I can, essentially. That's the best way to earn respect on the training track. So I'm just trying to work really hard and bring the strengths that I can bring, and just sort of keep my head down and stay focused. So they're the things that I'm trying to do to sort of help me get off to a good start, and I feel like I've been able to do that.
It does look like hard work out there as well.
Yeah, it certainly is, mate.
How's it all going?
Oh, mate, I love it. Yeah. I've absolutely loved the start to the footy club. It's different. It's certainly different, which has been nice. I feel like we've been able to transition into a lot of footy stuff over the last few weeks as well, since coming back from Chrissy also, and really preparing ourselves for a big year. So, my first couple of months have been really good, and really don't have any complaints.
Well, other than the obvious, because we've spoken about him a lot already, so we'll park Ollie to the side, I guess for the time being. I guess who else has helped you settle into life at Carlton away from the field? I guess who are you spending a bit of time with?
So spending a bit of time with Rick, which has been great with Cripper. He sort of came to me early doors and said, "Oh mate, just follow me," which I was pretty happy to do. I was pretty happy to do that. So I've sort of been learning under him a little bit over the summer. We've done a bit of work on track, sort of building relationships and connections that way with some of the roles we've been able to play. And then sort of off the track and some of the things that we do sort of Monday to Friday. Been shadowing him a bit, which has been really good for me. And then so new Kempy from before the footy club, played national championships with him when he was 18 and I was 17. Played in the game where he kicked a goal after the siren to get up.
Mention that.
I was there sitting. I reckon I was actually standing right behind him because I saw him take the mark and I just thought I wanted a good angle of it, so I stood directly behind him to watch it go through, which was that was pretty cool. And then sort of Tommy DeConing as well. Sort of coming back after Chrissy, been spending more time with him as well. So as much as I've been trying to spread across the group, because I've obviously only been here 6 weeks or so still trying to get to know the whole group and stuff.
What about on the field, mate? You mentioned Cripper a little bit, but I guess with your role, who's taken under their wing and helped you out from a footy perspective?
Yeah, so I've been sort of splitting some time between the forward group and the midfield group. So done a little bit of work with Charlie, trying to build connection with him as well. So there's going to be opportunities for me to hopefully deliver the ball to him and then him to me. So sort of just finding out different nuances that sort of every different person has. I think that helps build the connection that we're looking for on the track. So a bit of time with Charlie and Jack Martin, Walshy as well when coming up to the midfield group. So just trying to, build good connection with them on track so everything can sort of just be really predictable to each other.
Yeah, so position-wise, that's what you're looking at, I guess, a mix of mid and forward?
Yeah. So that's sort of where I've been training at the minute, being as someone that can come up to stoppages and sort of have an impact there, and then you essentially work both ways. So being able to use my tank is something that I've been training over summer, and then, ball in hand, trying to use some skills to put us in a good spot going forward.
Not sure how much work you've done with Jack Silvani, but not sure if weird's the correct or maybe surreal that your great-grandfather and his grandfather played for Carlton together. Is that weird to get your head around?
Were they in the same side?
Same side, yep.
Oh, I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, there you go. And I think Matty Cottrell's grandfather, Len, just missed your Martin. Yeah.
No, Sauce hasn't brought that up on the golf course. We've had a few rounds together.
Must be weird, though, 60 years on.
Yeah, that is strange. And Sauce is another one that I guess has been really good in my early days. Still got a sort of similar sense of humour as well, which sort of clicked, which has been nice. So that is really strange. I didn't know they were in the same side. Crossy, Ollie and I's great-grandfather loves to bring up his old Carlton days. Yep. So it would have been Serge?
Yep.
Yeah, Serge hasn't really come up, so maybe it's just him getting on and forgetting.
Did you get any advice from your great-grandfather Martin Cross when you arrived here? I know gave Ollie a bit of advice when he arrived in the draft just over 12 months ago now. What did he say to you?
Firstly, he just wants us to enjoy it. Footy's in a different spot now to what it was when he was playing. I've told some of the boys a story about how when he was playing at Carlton, he was getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning and throwing 4 and 20s out the front of people's doors. That was his morning job before he came in and did professional footy training. He was throwing pies around. So that's initially what he wants us to do. He wants us to make sure that we're enjoying our footy, the same as their whole family. We start playing footy at 5, 6, 7, 8 in the backyard because it's fun.
Yeah.
And not only does my family want us, Ollie and I, to keep that, I think the whole footy club has that element to it as well. Like, we want to create this enjoyable environment where footy is fun still, as we can work as hard as we do and still make it fun. So that's one of the things that my family's been really good for us. And then just obviously getting the balance right of enjoying the lifestyle we get as football players and keeping your head down. As we sort of touched on earlier, there's an element for me of a little bit of a second chance and just making sure that make the most of it here and could get the ball rolling early.
Well, your old man decided to spend his birthday watching you two at training, didn't he?
Yeah, he came down. He sort of turned it into a bit of a fiesta. He wanted a bit of a birthday week.
Yep.
So he came down to Melbourne. His birthday was on the Friday, so I think he came down to Melbourne on the Wednesday and started off with a birthday dinner on Wednesday and just kept rolling through, and he kept finding different dinners over the course of every day, and I think he left on Saturday night to go back to Sydney, and he had another birthday dinner planned. So
he's a busy man.
Yeah, no, he's busy. But no, he'll get over as much as he can. It makes it a little bit easier now that Ollie and I are playing together. So hopefully that's just a game knocked off every weekend that Dad doesn't need to watch or sit down or attend.
Well, he'll be less busy this year because wasn't there weeks last year he'd fly up to the Gold Coast and fly back to Melbourne for...
Yeah, he was... actually, his schedule was a bit off the charts, really. He would... Ollie, obviously, here we played some Thursdays, Fridays, whereas Goldie's more Saturday, Sunday. So Ollie would play on a Thursday or Friday, and Dad would try and get to that if he could. And then often enough, he would fly up to the coast on a Saturday or a Sunday to watch us and then be back in Sydney of a Sunday night.
Yeah.
So he was very busy now, and now he's just got 2 games to get to, but still in 2 different states. So
yeah, is Aussie playing footy?
Aussie's playing footy. Yeah. So the old Manly Bombers, he's getting around with his mates back there. Yeah, a little bit interesting. Nah, we'll just call him Manly.
Yep.
Aussie's kicking around. He's 16 now, which is weird, mate, because when I got drafted, he was 12.
Yeah.
Especially up on the Gold Coast, whereas he doesn't get interstate as much.
Yeah.
It's funny when he sort of popped his head in maybe once or twice a year, and it's 6 months or 12 months on from, and as a 13, 14-year-old, like that could be the difference in that much in height or whatever. Yeah. So it's funny when especially a lot of my mates see him, they just think he's a completely different bloke.
Yeah.
So he's running around, and then Dad will try and get to Ollie and I as much as he can.
Is it a Carlton supporting family?
Yeah, huge.
Yeah.
I think I was literally like,
yeah,
my mum and I were the only 2 that weren't Carlton. Everyone else is Carlton. Like it's massive.
And yet you were the Crows.
Yeah.
Why?
So I was born in Adelaide.
Yeah.
And Mum, born in Adelaide, raised in Adelaide. She was a Crows supporter, and I sort of was like, I was born in Adelaide and grew up to about 7 or 8 there. So I spent all my life there. That was like, so I had enough time, and I was, I guess, old enough to make a choice. And at that stage, I was in Adelaide. My mum went for Adelaide, so I was a Crows supporter.
And also, Adelaide were going quite well, and Carlton were going quite poor.
Yeah.
Which certainly helps matters. Or
that helped. And then I actually, when we moved from Adelaide to Urunga in country Victoria, I remember there was like a bring your jumper to school day, and Mum was sewing on my Adelaide jumper, and I threw it straight off and like threw it away because I was scared, because now moving to Victoria, I was like 8. Moving to Victoria, I thought you had to go for a Victorian club. So I shamefully wore a Blues jumper to the school that day.
That's what we like to hear.
That day. And at that stage, I was like, oh, what am I doing? Like, and all my mates were like, oh, do you go for Carlton? I was like, oh, not really. But I was like, hey, I've just come from Adelaide and I don't really want to wear a Crows jumper in Victoria. But then I put the Crows one back on. But now I'm happy to be putting the right one on.
The right one. That is correct. Well, I think it was last week. Past players were kind of everywhere at Icon Park. You got your jumper from Jeff Southby, end of last year, the number 20 Guernsey, and then I guess past players and their kids at a breakfast last week. I guess coming into the club for the first time, what's it like for you when you get to welcome, I guess, so many greats through the doors and get to meet them all?
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. The history of the club is so rich that I feel like you'd never really actually fully understand it. There's been so much history inside the 4 walls and inside sort of Princess Icon Park. So I guess when you get those opportunities, when you see Juddy rolling through the office and Heath Scotland and blokes like that, I guess you just appreciate sort of what they've done for the footy club and makes you, I guess, put a higher importance on the things you're doing whilst you're in there to make sure that you can sort of leave it in a better place as those blokes have done during their time. So, yeah, I guess fully understanding is going to take time, sort of the history of the footy club, but it's one that, I'm keen to keep learning on.
There's a photo of Juddy talking to Adam Chera and your brother, and both of them seem absolutely entranced with what he's saying.
Yeah. I feel like if I was involved in that conversation, I probably would have been calling similar facial expressions.
Well, we'll get onto your facial expressions later when you're out there on the ground.
Oh, no.
We've got a few photos, but we'll get onto that maybe a bit later on. But I think 6 weeks now into pre-season. I think it's officially the halfway mark of pre-season so far. What stood out so far in your time at Carlton?
I The boys crack in.
Yeah.
They go hard. I think that's been one of the things that stood out to me. It's led by a few of the leaders from the inside with Cripper and Walshy. The way that they sort of just go about their training has been a big standout. And one thing I've really enjoyed is there's a really high level of importance in skills and the fundamentals, which has been great. So over the summer, there's been a really high importance on that. We still get a lot of volume in our training, but I've found that it's been a lot more in sort of football scenarios, which has been great. Just putting yourselves in as many football scenarios that you can over a summer is only going to help you during the winter. So, they're the two things that have probably stood out early days.
What about behind the scenes, mate? I guess what have you found are the things which the players and coaches really, I guess, harp on, whether it's values or behaviours out in the track?
One thing I've really noticed is just between the players and the staff and the coaches, it's a good blend.
Yep.
Like you sort of, once you come off the track, everyone's sort of got their separate roles on the track, or sort of admin, or coaches on the track, coach, players play. But as soon as you step off, it's just like sort of all that goes away. It's just you just become people.
Yep.
Which has been something that I've really enjoyed. So you get your time where you might sit down one-on-one with, for me, Geordie Russell or Tim Clark. But outside of that, like they're just people that you're just connecting with and chatting away with and building relationships with, which is something that I've really enjoyed. Same for upstairs and downstairs. We might not get as much time with the upstairs, but I feel like you still have the same level of respect and connection with those guys, which is really important. And something that I've really enjoyed so far as well.
What about your onboarding, I guess, mate, when you arrived at the footy club? You got a log on street lunch as well and all that kind of thing. That must have been nice.
Yeah, I got a good introduction to log on street. Doing 2 years of boarding school, I spent on the other side of the city, so school was in St Kilda, and all my mates sort of lived around Brighton, St Kilda area. So I'm getting not only introductions to Carlton people, but also this side of town.
It's a good side of town.
Yeah, it's great. I've actually really enjoyed it. So I think Danini's got a good run early. I know there's a bit of history behind Danini's in the footy club.
And Doc as well with that lunch that we had up there as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So good introduction. I'm sure that we'll get more opportunities to keep growing those experiences.
Well, we're recording this on Wednesday. So it's come out on Thursday, which marks exactly 4 weeks before the first scratch match. So you're getting used to all the surrounds of everything, but that must sound pretty full on. It's coming around very quickly.
Oh, mate, it always does. Yeah, you sort of start day one pre-season thinking that everything's just so far away, but it never is.
Yep.
And it's exciting, mate. We've had a good block before Chrissy and post Chrissy. Pretty uninterrupted. I know Weedus has hurt his calf, but outside of that, it's been relatively uninterrupted. And the boys are really enjoying their training. But once when we get to the Cats in 4 weeks' time, it'll just be all about timing our run. And making sure that we hit the ground running.
Well, we ask this question every time on this show. We love our pre-season cliches here on Summer Sessions, just about who's flying out there on the track.
Yep.
I feel like you get to live it more than most because it's your first time seeing a lot of your teammates train. So I guess who's impressing you? Who's caught your eye out there?
Charlie initially. Charlie's one that sort of caught my eye. You get to watch games. Like you watch games and you're watching the TV screen and you're just following the ball. I didn't get to... I think I got to one live game last year, which was when Carlton came up to the coast.
Yeah.
But watching training and being able to see things from the whole sort of field of view perspective, being able to see the way that Charlie moves and kicks and his decision making with ball in hand has been really impressive. And then just sort of on a bit of a side note, like Binzi and Cott's running abilities are just off the charts.
Yeah.
Like watching those two go to work up and down the wing and Cott's a bit of half forward is just insane. Like those boys' aerobic capacity is off the charts.
Well, I think everyone, and no disrespect to anyone else, but I think everyone knew that they'd be the 1 and 2 in the 2K time trial.
Yeah.
And then you had Ollie just in front of you.
Oh, no, mate, he wasn't just in front of me. He was
doing your favour.
Streets in front of me.
He was one position in front of you.
Two. Charlie pipped me.
Did Charlie pip you?
Charlie ran fourth.
So I think we might have said that you were fourth and Charlie was fifth.
No, Charlie was fourth. Mate, those three boys at the front were running their own race.
Yeah.
I actually felt like I was running second the whole time because those three boys were just doing their own thing and I felt like I was just running behind Charlie. I'll throw Ollie in there then if he wants to get some of it.
No, we've mentioned him enough. we'll get over him. Actually, someone I do want to ask about Charlie's locker buddy, Harry Lemmy. Getting a few raps in here for the way he's been training in recent weeks. Word on that, but then two, has he forgiven you that you've moved in with Ollie and Harry's had to find someone else to live with?
Mate, I don't think he's forgiven me. I think he's thanked me. I think he's almost got a sense of relief. Lem's been really good on the track, mate. I think especially over the last week and a half. I don't know much, obviously, because I wasn't here for Lem's first 12 months, but I think even just watching this summer from day one to, I guess, last week, it sort of just feels like he's coming out of himself just a little bit more and attacking with a little bit more confidence, which has been great. I know in the last week and a bit, he's just been on the end of so many attacking moves and taking good marks inside 50. So, yeah, it's great. It's great to see the big boys going well, and Skull O'Keefe's been going really well too. So those two big boys working in tandem down there, which has been great to see.
Well, you're learning about your new teammates. We're learning about one of your teammates still to this day, and he's been here for 8 or 9 years now. Again, you were briefed that this was coming.
Yeah.
David Cunningham.
Yeah, and I can't give you anything.
You're getting to know your teammates now, so anything you know about him will be fresh.
Yeah.
Have you got anything for us?
Nah, I tried my best. I asked a few boys around just for anything on him, and they said that it's sort of a bit of a mystery.
He's cunners.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, you can sort of tell. He's a bit of a mysterious man, and it sort of looks like he likes to keep it that way. I heard Claire was talking earlier about how she really wants him to get on the podcast, and he just said it's not his setup.
We're desperate.
Yeah.
I've been trying for 2 years.
For 2 years.
Yep.
Right. But no, I asked around and I literally couldn't get anything, so it sounds like his life's a bit of a secret.
Yeah, the one thing for sure about Cunners is nothing's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, we asked your brother on the first episode of this podcast about nicknames, because a lot of people got around the Dutchy nickname for him.
Yep.
Last year. And he had the nerve to suggest that you may be called Dutchy too, because you came in after him.
Did he label me as the second?
Thoughts?
No, I don't like that. No, I didn't know. Actually, I didn't see that bit. But no, I'm not copping. I'm not getting Dutchy. Ollie can have it. I've actually never got it.
Yeah.
I've never got it ever. So I'm happy to keep it that way. I feel like it's a bit generic. I haven't copped too many nicknames in my life, to be honest.
Yep. Hopefully, trying to get one to stick, I hear.
Pardon?
Are you trying to get one to stick?
No, not necessarily. Okay. I'm pretty happy just to roll with whatever. Yep. I think there's one sort of creeping in over the last week and a bit, but I'm not going to share.
Because you don't like it, I assume?
No, not because I don't like it. I'm just going to let it sort of just see if it sticks or not, and then we might share.
Otherwise, it's just large.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not the nickname in question.
No.
We'll see if we can get any mail on that in the coming
King's trying
weeks.
to get it to stick, so we'll see how he goes with that.
Well, speaking of people we're trying to get on this podcast and can't get them on, Tom de Koning and Matthew Cottrell are two others that we would love to have them on.
You should get them on together.
We're trying to.
Yeah.
We thought that'd be nice.
Yeah. You should get them on together.
Not sure how that would go, but I think it'd be nice for them, but as yet unsuccessful. But we'll get there, hopefully.
Yeah, you will.
Now, I mentioned this before. I'm not sure if you're aware, but Ed Kerno got a bit of a cult following throughout his time at Carlton for, I guess, some of the faces he'd make.
Well, I've seen the comparisons
when playing football. Seems like you're the heir apparent. Is that a fair assumption?
I've seen the comparisons. I've seen the comments. Look, I'm not going to back myself in. My footy photos are horrific. They are so bad.
What is it? Like, why does it happen?
I think it's just because I'm trying really hard.
Okay. That's a good thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I tell myself anyways.
So the weirder the face, the better.
I think so, yeah. That's what the narrative I'm rolling with. I have no idea.
Yeah.
My nana used to tell me, because I always just stick my tongue out.
Yep.
There's still a few photos of me sticking my tongue out, sort of, especially when the ball's really close. She genuinely had fears that I'd bite my tongue off at some stage.
Right.
Like genuine scares over it. She thought I would eventually bite my tongue off. I don't know what goes on with the footy faces. I saw the comparisons to Ed. Ed's weren't great.
Yep.
Mine aren't great. But it's just something I can't control.
Yeah.
How do you go about playing a game of footy and then just like, oh, hang on, what's me lid looking like? Before, like, while she's giving me a handball, and I'm just trying to just straighten my face up instead of looking at the footy.
As long as you're getting the ball, mate, that's what matters.
I'll try to keep getting the ball.
Yep. Well, actually, Paddy Cripps pokes his tongue out, but only if he's ever kicking on his left foot. I think it's his concentration pace. Yeah. I reckon Rose might have a few photos from the last few years where if he's kicking on his left foot, tongue out, because he's concentrating that hard. So you're in good company.
Well, mate, he's been in the shed working on his left all summer, so he might not have to think as hard. So the tongue might start to creep back in.
He won't bite his tongue off.
He might not. Nah.
That'll be happy.
Nah, he wants to have the best left in the comp by the end of the year. So that's what he's been telling me, anyways.
How does Sadi feel about that?
I don't think Sadi's worried.
Well, moving on to your other great love, golf.
Yeah.
Obviously, you came in and you're getting to know new teammates. You mentioned you spent a bit of time with Sauce. Who are the top? Now, this is the top three, so I want you 3, 2, and 1. Who are the top 3 Carlton golfers that you've heard that you're coming for their crown?
I think right now it's Ollie, Kuda, Jack Martin, and I think me and Sauce are literally the next 2.
Okay.
So I think I think
Who gets your 3
Chug's supposed to be close.
Yep.
I haven't played with Chug yet.
Okay.
But he's supposed to be around the mark. Sauce and I are both 9. I think Chug said he might have been 10 or 11. Raz said he hasn't played in a little while, but he's about 12 or 13. I'm going to give Kuda the 3.
Yeah, you can't give your brother the 2.
You can't give Ollie the 3.
Yeah.
And I'll give Ollie the 2. And then Sauce is in the 1. But I think there's a few boys sort of in and around the me, Sauce, Chug sort of mark.
From what I know, Sam Doherty was mad for it, but then
I haven't heard about Doc yet.
had a baby and it kind of became a bit hard to actually play golf.
Became tough. Brad was talking about his desire for golf. He said he became a member the year before COVID with real ambitions to really get into work. And then COVID and then a few injuries and niggles later, he said he's played about 3 rounds a year for the last 4 years.
Or were they 3 good rounds? Probably not.
No. He said that he's like a 30. I think he said he's a 30 handicapper and just but he can't get out there.
And he's not in your top 3.
No, he's not my top 3.
Yeah, fair enough. Top 10? Maybe.
Yeah, he might be in there by default.
That is fair enough. Well, we sign off the podcast the same way as we do every week. Bit more of a wholesome answer. You touched on it a little bit before, but Elijah Hollands, why do you play football?
Yeah. Like I said earlier, you start playing because it's fun. You play with your mates, you play with your brothers in the backyard. It's fun. You watch who are essentially your idols at the time on the TV. Like I remember when I started watching footy, the first sort of few people I could properly remember were like Eddie Betts and Andrew McLeod, and those boys. Eddie when he was playing for Adelaide, Danger when he was playing for Adelaide. Those sort of guys growing up, I love watching. So that's why you start playing, and then, mate, literally. So that's why I started playing. That's why I kept playing.
Yeah.
And then as I got older into my teenage years, late teenage years, and you start to think you could potentially make a living from it. Yeah, you just dig in and you give it a crack and see where you go. But I guess when you're 6, 8, 10, 12, you're playing it because you're playing it with your mates, and then you sort of just see what happens. Yeah. So I'm trying to keep an element of that now, which is good.
I like it. Happy to be here at the Carlton Footy Club.
Oh, mate, yeah.
First time we've spoken.
Yeah, the best, yeah.
Yep. Good on you, mate.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks for joining the show.
Thank you very much. Thanks
All the best for the upcoming debut season.
Thank you.